Moral of the story, don't try. It was like painful, like detached retina kind of spew as well, you know? It was like classic 86 vomit. And I chased that. Anyway, that's just a small story. The act I'm about to bring on now is a master of big stories. So I want you to go nuts, give a lot of love and energy to your next comedian, Judy Stutz.
Thank you. Has anybody here had a bad day at work today? Yes? Yes? Yeah, okay, I can understand that. I'm sorry to hear about it. What I can tell you is that, you know, I've had bad days at work, but I don't worry about it anymore because some years ago I actually had the very, very, very worst possible day at work that you could ever have. It was horrific. And I don't have to worry about bad things happening at work anymore because nothing could be as bad as that. So, here's the story. I was working for this company and part of the job was to, as a systems engineer, to travel around and install systems. So I got to go around Australia, around the country, etc., and overseas too. It was great. One day, my boss came up to me and said, "Hey Jude, can I get you to go to Kazakhstan to install some systems there?" And I went, "Oh yeah, great, that sounds really good." And then I realised that the only Stan I knew was Pakistan. And then I thought, oh, maybe Kazakhstan is like a little brother or a cousin or something. But no, it turns out that Kazakhstan was actually a Soviet republic that had got independence from the Soviet Union, and so they wanted to have this new system installed, and it was my job to go overseas with about 30 laptops and a server and do the installation. So off I went, and you know, I had a pretty good time. You know, I went from village to village and I'd install a laptop and I'd show the locals how to use it to connect to the server in the capital city of Almaty, and you know, it was pretty good. I can't complain until about 2 weeks into the trip, I'm laying in my beautiful Soviet bed in the hotel in the city, and all of a sudden there's this an enormous explosion. The window shatters. I'm thrown out of bed. I mean, I've been thrown out of bed before, but usually in more subtle ways, not normally with grenades and mortars. So, you know, I gather myself together and just stand up and realise, oh, there's been a bit of a bladder incident. So I go to the bathroom and I get cleaned up and get dressed. And then I tiptoe downstairs looking for soldiers, because I'm expecting there's going to be a platoon of soldiers down there waiting for me. But there weren't. In fact, there was nobody down there. And I'm checking the place out. There were no staff, there were no guests, until I get into the bar, and there's this one guy sitting there at the bar, drinking what looked to be vodka, and it looked like he'd had quite a bit of vodka. And I said, "Hi," and he said, "Hi, I'm Bob." And Bob was an American, and he looked like he had a few drinks, and I said, "Bob, what's happened?" And he said, "Well, there's been a small civil war. I hope you're not planning to use the airport to get out, because that's been blockaded. We can't use that." And I said, "Well, that's no good, because you know there's bombs and things still falling out, so I could get dead here." And he goes, "Oh, don't worry, I've got a plan." And I thought, I'm sitting here listening to an American half drunk on vodka who says he's got a plan. Well, that's more than I got, so okay, I'm ready for the plan. And he says, "Okay, here's the thing, I'm a pilot." Okay. And I said, "Well, that's great, but you know, you just said the airport's closed." And he said, "Yes, but on the edge of town is a small airfield that only has light planes, and you know, it's a pretty pathetic runway, but we could go there on foot and we could get ourselves, you know, a rental plane and fly the hell out of Kazakhstan. And I went, okay, not the best plan I've ever heard, but again, the only one, so sign me up. And he said, right, okay, here's what you need to do. Get a backpack, the biggest one you've got, and put in some clean underwear, because you're going to need that, your passport, because you're going to need that, and then fill up the rest of your backpack with as much vodka and cigarettes as you can. And I've gone, okay, this is an unusual plan, but I've signed up, I'm going along. So I go upstairs. Luckily, I've got this really big backpack, you know, with one of those hikers ones with the frame, the whole works. Come back downstairs, and I go into the duty-free shop, which there's nobody there. There's no one to serve me, nobody to take my money. And then I thought, duty-free. My name's Judy. Duty-free? And then I thought, no, probably not. That doesn't seem really terribly honest to me. I know though, I've got a bunch of laptops upstairs. I can't carry them with me. So I loaded up my backpack with as much vodka and tobacco as I could, and I left a note on the desk saying, to whom it may concern. There was nobody here, so I helped myself to some vodka and some cigarettes. In payment, I have left a whole lot of laptops in my room. Please enjoy. Signed, Judy Stutz, hopefully still alive. And I felt better after that, and off we went. So there we were, walking down the road, avoiding as much as we could the gunfire and the mortars and the grenades. And we started, unfortunately, to play this drinking game, which I think Bob had played before, because well, he was still alive, and essentially it was called, you missed me! Okay. So every time a grenade or a mortar or even small arms fire came near us but didn't hit us, we'd take a slug of vodka each and go, you missed me! So needless to say, by the time, you know, we get to where we're going, we're pretty bombed. I mean, not only physically bombed, alcoholically bombed as well. Still not a good idea, but, you know, you just roll with the plan. So we get to a checkpoint. Now, the whole town had checkpoints everywhere. And if you wanted to go anywhere, you had to get through the checkpoint. So you had to convince the soldiers to let you through. Does anybody here want to know how to bribe a Soviet soldier? Yes? Okay. There are two plans. Plan A, the best option, the cheapest option, is Bob would take a bottle of vodka, take the top off, take a swig, go over to the NCO or the officer, give him a swig, and they'd have a bit of a talk. While he's doing that, I go over to the soldiers. There's usually only 2 or 3 at a checkpoint, and I open a pack of cigarettes, take one, light it up, offer a cigarette to the next soldier and the next soldier, and then I go, oh, look, keep the pack, and you should have a pack of cigarettes too. Here you go, and you can have a pack of cigarettes. They're my friends now. They're my friends, and with a bit of luck, because by this time Bob has given the NCO the bottle of vodka. There you go, sir. And that's generally enough to get you through a checkpoint. Now, occasionally, you are going to strike someone who's not having that. Okay, so then you go Plan B. Now, Plan B is a little bit more stylish, but also quite effective. You casually drop $50 American on the ground, and you go, oh my God, there's $50 on the ground. It's not my money. It must be your money, sir. Not mine, totally not mine. Must be yours. Now, you've got to remember, $50 is like a year's worth of salary to this Soviet soldier. Okay? He'd be crazy not to take that money. So, of course, he takes the money, and all of a sudden, you get waved through to the next checkpoint. So that's how you bribe a Soviet soldier, which we did, and we got all the way to the airstrip. And as we arrived, I was a bit disappointed, really, because it was awfully crappy. It was just, the runway was just dust, and I'm looking at that, and then the planes were wrecks, and I'm thinking, this isn't good. But we're in with the plan, like I said. So we go in, and there is a proprietor there, and so I, asked, could we rent a plane? And he said, why would I rent you a plane? Well, why not? He said, there's a war on, you're going to get this plane, and you're going to take off, and you're never coming back. And I lose my plane. And I thought, well, yeah, he's got a point. And you think about it, because, I haven't planned on coming back. So, yeah. So I said, well, okay, can we buy a plane? And he went, sure, you can buy a plane. The planes are out there. And I said, okay, we'll get back to you. Don't go away. So anyway, Bob, the pilot, who was very drunk, goes and checks the planes, and he says, hey, Judy, this is our plane, this is the one we want. And it's this little red and white, one seat in front, one seat behind plane. And it looked pretty sad. And what made me really nervous was that in the back, where I was going to have to sit, there was this really big hole. Like, I'd have to sit on the seat with my legs sort of on the side of the plane, and the hole was like that. I could see the ground, and I thought, I'm not really looking forward to travelling like this. And Bob said, no, don't worry, it's a toilet. And I went, okay, all right, okay. If you reckon it'll fly, you're the pilot, what the hell do I know? And it's a toilet, okay. So we go back to the proprietor and say, okay, we'd like to buy a plane. We want that one over there. And he goes, that red and white thing? Yeah, the red and white thing, that's a plane. Oh, I wondered what that was. By this time I'm really worried. And I think, oh, okay. Okay, how much do you want for the thing that, he said $4,000, American dollars. And I went, oh, that's a problem because we don't have $4,000 in cash on us. And, but I said to him, well, look, $4,000, that's a lot of money for a plane that you didn't even realise was a plane until we pointed it out. So, how about $3,000 and I will use my corporate credit card. American Express, never leave home without it, although I was feeling like American Express never leave home. And believe it or not, he said, yes, I'll take your card. So, put the card down, he went, voom, voom, $3,000, I've just bought myself a plane, all right. So we get in the plane and we take off. I mean, before he changes his mind. And we sort of take off, we sort of wobble off would be the thing. I couldn't work out whether it was because we had a crap plane or the pilot was so incredibly drunk. But anyway, we made it into the air and we're going, whatever. A bit worried that we might be shot down, but I think your average Soviet soldier was looking at that plane and thinking, why waste a bullet on that? That's just going to fall out the sky by itself. It doesn't need us to help it. So just let it go. And it did, and we made it. We got across that, when we sort of, across that Russian border, and we found an airstrip. Spectacular. Now, you may have heard about Sully. He was the guy, big hero, who landed that jet on the Hudson River. You know, they made a big movie about it with Tom Hanks. Big hero. Well, I'm sorry, Sully, you are a hero, but Bob, way cooler. Because Bob landed a crappy little red and white plane with a toilet while he was totally drunk without breaking one bottle of vodka and only bursting one tyre on landing. So props to Bob. So, anyway, as it's we're doing pretty well there. We're pretty happy, and we get out. The Russians initially weren't happy to see us, but as we started handing out cigarettes and vodka, all of a sudden we had new friends. So that was really great. Big crowd around us. And on the edge of the crowd, there's this guy, and he come up to me and he goes, hi there. And I've gone, g'day. you're in America. Yeah, I'm an American. My name's Bob. And I've gone, geez, that's really strange because my pilot's name is Bob. Oh, yeah, I know Bob. Bob and I are in sort of the same business. Okay, all right. I didn't know Bob was such a common name in Kazakhstan, but none of my business, I guess. He goes, I'd love to buy your plane. And then I had a realisation. It's not a realisation that many people would have in their lives. But I'm standing there and I'm thinking, yeah, I own a plane. And it's not going to fit in my backpack. So, what do? Well, I sell the plane, don't I? So I take Bob over the plane. I say, look, I've got to be honest with you. There's a big hole in the back of the plane, you know, through the floor. Bob called it a toilet. I don't know really. I think it's just a hole. And new Bob said, oh no, that'll be great, that'll be fine. We can use that when we drop packages through, you know, a few kilos at a time, and great. And I said, oh, you're like in helping people, you're some sort of NGO or something with medicines and supplies and things. Oh, he said, more medicines and supplies. Yeah, sort of in that area. And I went, okay, yeah, no worries. So that's cool. So there I had him one day. I survived a war, bought a plane on my corporate credit card and sold it back to a drug dealer. But just before I leave, I wanted to give you just a little bit of info about new Bob who bought the plane. Because he bought that plane and then he sold that plane and bought 2 new planes. And then he sold those 2 planes and he bought 4 planes and he sold the 4 planes and then he bought 8 planes, etc, etc, etc. And last I heard, he was actually running an airline called Jetstar. Okay, thank you very much.
Give it up for Judy Stutz. What an incredible story. That's amazing. So Judy, you're telling me that you bought a plane in Kazakhstan and met a drug dealer, and then you rock up here with Greg Fleet.
I've got 8 planes.
That's crazy. Really crazy. Only at the Highlander. What a beautiful story. Give it up one more time.